All right, so draft weekend is over, and I know that, hopefully, at least, most of my people that watch the episodes are looking forward to seeing my initial thoughts on this year's draft and how I would grade it and all that stuff. But before we can do that, because, it's not Wednesday yet, before we can get into that, I feel like that we need to first start talking about how I felt like the UDFAs went. The undrafted free agents, the guys that don't get that much like attention or love or just, everything that they don't usually deserve. But there are some really good undrafted free agents, like Warren Moon was an undrafted free agent, and he may be the best quarterback in Tennessee Titans history. Or Oilers history, however you look at it. But anyway, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Titans Rundown. I'm your host, Micah McCamey, with a YouTube exclusive video today. Yeah, no, this is not going on the podcast. This is my ranking of every single undrafted free agent that we've had so far. Well, not ranking, but I'm going to go through each and every one of them and grade them based on how I think they could do as Tennessee Titans, and also go through them based off of what my initial thoughts are on these guys. Because, obviously the guys that were drafted are going to get a lot of love, especially with what people think about our draft. I'm not wavering too much in it, but you'll see that on Wednesday. But anywho, yeah, no, I'm excited for this. So let's get right into it. Okay, so first off, we're going to talk about Iowa's cornerback named Jermari Harris. He is a veteran and was pretty solid at Iowa. He had 105 career tackles. He had 4 TFLs, 8 picks, and 17 pass deflection, pass breakups in his whole career. Okay, he didn't have that last year. Last year, he had 27 tackles, 1 TFL, 3 picks, and 7 pass breakups. Still a really good stat line. There's no denying that, right? Like, he had a very solid year in his last year at Iowa. And taking a look at this, he has good instincts, but he does sometimes have a lack of speed. So, I'll be honest, I think this is a really good undrafted free agent signing that that should get credit. And I'll be honest, this is one of the dudes that I would actually peg as somebody that could make the roster if he comes in being as solid as I think he could end up being. So I gave it a B+. Not a bad signing, okay? Yeah, we're going through these rapid fire because, again, there's not that much information on these guys because, well, they went undrafted. Next one. Okay, we have Brian Crenshaw. I couldn't remember what his full name was, but that is what I'm going with. I think it was Brandon. I can't remember. But anywho, he is an offensive tackle straight out of Florida. First thing that needs to be addressed, he was projected to be in the 5th or 6th round. Getting him as an undrafted free agent is honestly kind of amazing. Like, I'm really happy about that because I'm sure that he had some pretty high bidders if I had to take a guess, especially considering how much guaranteed money we gave him. Like, we gave him like what? I saw somewhere that we gave him 100,000 guaranteed. Like, that's insane for a UDFA. But we have a lot of confidence in him. Bill Callahan has a lot of confidence in him, and it's good to see that. Last year, okay, I only did career stats for Jermari Harris. I don't know why I didn't do it for the rest of these guys, but 358 total run blocking snaps, if I'm doing my math correctly. He allowed 1 sack, but also gave up 11 hurries, right? So this guy is big. Like, obviously, every O-lineman is big, but like, this guy is like huge. I can't remember exactly what his physical stats are. Okay, so I made a mistake while I was recording this video. I know that this feels really abrupt, and I'm sorry about that. But I stopped the recording like halfway through whenever I was talking about this offensive lineman that you just heard me talking about, Brandon Crenshaw. I forgot to. I think I hit pause on this on Riverside right over here, and I never clicked resume. So I recorded the entire video, and it was not until the very end did I notice that I had paused the recording and I never resumed. So, I gotta do this all over again, alright? Not the entire video, but I guess I'll try and resume where I was with Crenshaw. Yeah, no, dude is gigantic, 6'7", like 320. Like, dude's a big guy, all right? And, he has pretty good patience whenever he is, going to block some defensive linemen. Like, but it's not like to the point where he's a sitting duck, right? Like, where he's just, barely able to get the guy in time or something like that. Like, he waits patiently and he times good whenever he needs to go block his guy, right? But one of the negatives of him is because, he's gigantic, but with that comes some problems, like about how he doesn't really bend his knees too amazingly, right? And sometimes that'll lead to problems where he's just standing straight up and he's very prone to, get wrecked at the line, which, he could get away with in college because, he was just so gigantic, and there would be some weeks where, quite frankly, all that he would have to play is, an itty bitty guy. But like some type of like 6-foot guy. But like in the NFL, you got to play like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" type of guys. So it depends on how he adjusts to having to play those guys, and we'll see how he does there. But overall, I gave this a B-, mostly just because of the fact that I do think he'll make the roster, just because of his just stature alone. And I think he is the Jalen Duncan replacement, the guy that really isn't that great right now, but can develop into something a little further on down the road, like as a solid backup or something like that. So, and again, the Bill Callahan sponsorship is absolutely huge for this guy. Don't get me wrong. Okay, next person is David Jabinda. I still don't know how to pronounce that last name. I already said something about that in the recording that y'all did not see, but this guy is a pretty solid linebacker out of Texas. Last year, he had 61 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 1 interception. I got my information for this guy from Texas fans and, realistic Texas fans. Not those guys that are just like, oh, every Texas player that's ever walked onto this field, apart from the ones that we don't like, are perfect. Like, it's not like some of these Vols fans that we have where it's just like, Nico was perfect whenever he was with us, but now that he's gone, oh, he was terrible, right? Like, it's not one of those situations. This was like a guy that was actually this was a website that was pretty unbiased, pretty unbiased toward Texas players. So here's the thing that they will tell you. He has an extremely high motor, which is something that I look for in a linebacker that is most likely just going to be a rotational guy. We'll get to that later, but high motor guy, again, another pretty solid teammate. Like I said recently, you're starting to really notice a pattern with the type of guys that Borgonzi got in this draft. It's very obvious, right? It's very obvious what type of guys Borgonzi wanted in this draft, And I'm very grateful that he did decide to go get those guys, especially in this draft, which is like not as like ridiculously strong with blue chips as some people would have hoped for, but it's still like a pretty solid draft, and it has good leaders in it, and it's good to see that we're trying to get those types of guys in this draft. But anywho, side rants aside, he does struggle in man coverage, which is why he'll be mostly a rotational linebacker rather than just some guy that's going to play every down for you and is always going to be solid. Because of his struggles in man coverage, that's going to hold him back. But overall, I really like this signing. This was my second highest graded signing, and I gave it an A- because I think that this guy makes the roster, but not only that, I think that he finds his way into the rotation by the end of the year. Really solid pickup for the Tennessee Titans overall right here. Okay, next person, we go on a little bit of a cold streak here, just a warning. Next person is Davion Ross, cornerback, Memphis. This has hometown cooking written all over it, if you ask me. Like, this is the type of guy that you see that played in your home state. He had good stats, and you're just like, yeah, I want that guy. Last year, he had a really solid stat line last year. But last year, he had 61 tackles. That is David David Jabinda. No, Davion Ross had 51 tackles, 11 pass breakups, and 3 picks. Yeah, no, those are some really good stats. I won't deny it. But I think that most of it came from the fact that he was just a really stinking good athlete. Okay, you don't end up as an undrafted free agent with those ridiculous stats if there wasn't something that, like, was really raw about you. Now, here's the thing. I could be completely wrong about this guy, right? I could 100% just be digging into him for no reason, and he ends up becoming a camp hero, right? And ends up making the roster and becomes a depth piece to the Titans DBs room. Or he ends up becoming more. Wouldn't be opposed to it, but I just don't think it'll happen. I think this guy really relied on his athleticism, and, he was a sixth-year senior, which is always going to be worrying no matter what position you're playing. Whether you're a quarterback like Tyler Shook, solid quarterback, but I just don't know if he'll actually develop at all. But, like, again, with like these fifth, sixth, seventh, fifth is fine because, that means that you redshirted 1 year. But like these sixth and seventh guys, like, I just have some problems with, right? But overall, again, he could end up shocking me, and he could end up just, carrying his athleticism, and, the front office may think, oh yeah, we can develop this guy. But, like, I don't know. This feels like one of those UDFA pickups where it's just like freakish athlete that just isn't like that good with like skills. And, overall, I just don't think he's going to be like insane or anything. That's why I gave this one a C+, which may be a little harsh, but I'll be honest, I really don't care. If I have Brandon Crenshaw at a B-, then Davion Ross is not getting that, right? Okay. Anywho, next person, Jalen Kimber, cornerback out of Penn State. He had 37 tackles, 2 pass breakups, and no interceptions. Again, another raw athlete that got carried by his athleticism in his last year in college. And again, I got similar thoughts to him as I do Davion Ross. Just don't think that he's going to be all that amazing. He is an athlete, so, like, again, he could shock me, and then, again, coaching staff looks at it and is just like, I can develop that. But I just don't see it. And the only reason I feel a little bit better about him, I don't have him at a B-, I still have him at a C+, but the only reason I feel a little bit better about him than I do old Davion is that he played against Big Ten offenses, which, I know, Big Ten, whoa, their passing offenses are so scary. But, like, they are definitely better with pass offenses than the American Alliance Conference. That's just the truth. Or the American Athletic, whichever one it is. Anywho, next one is Isaiah Reichs, however you pronounce it. He's the edge out of Auburn. This guy, again, freakish athlete, but I think he was just more of a rotational piece at Auburn. He had 15 tackles, no sacks, no TFLs. I think he was more so of a guy that would just rotate in every now and again, sometimes have a solid moment here and there. But I do think the reason that he is in training camp is, again, freakish athlete and just really just doesn't have that much else going for him. But overall, whatever signing, I gave it a C. I think that this is the worst one out of all of them. Again, these last 3 guys I think are just kind of camp bodies, quite frankly. But who knows? They could end up shocking me. And I could end up being shocked. But anywho, yeah, overall, just not too amazing. Anywho, I think that's really all that I have for today. And tell me what y'all think how I did on these undrafted free agent rankings. Wait, hold on. There's a guy I'm missing. I can't remember who it is. Whew, man, I can't remember, right? He had a connection with our first pick. He was a wide receiver, I think. Oh, right. The dude that is on the Tennessee Titans. I dedicated a whole page to him. Not really. But, again, he has, like, these first 4 lines. He has his own separate page. Wide receiver out of Miami, Xavier Restrepo. Best UDFA signing by far out of all of these guys. Again, the linebacker out of Texas, I felt like was really good and would be the best UDFA signing in most other years. But just considering the fact that we got Xavier Restrepo, a dude that was projected as early as the 3rd and 4th round as an undrafted free agent, that is a freaking steal right there. I don't care what you say. Last year, he had 69 receptions, 1,127 yards, and 11 touchdowns. This guy is really good. One of his best traits, though, is that he eludes, like, handsy coverage, right? Like, he makes sure that he can find... He's very slippery, so he finds a way to avoid physical contact at the line of scrimmage whenever he is running routes, at least. Like, whenever he's blocking, he blocks. But, like, whenever he is running routes, he usually finds his way out of that stuff because of how just slick and shifty he is. And I think that that will do really well for him in the NFL, especially considering the fact that his biggest negative, well, okay, of course, it's his 40 time. 4.8, 40, not the best for a receiver. There's some defensive linemen that run about that. There's a quarterback that runs, there are multiple quarterbacks that run faster than that. But again, I'll be honest, whenever you look at his film, this is one of the only guys I've actually looked at, like, his film. But, like, whenever you look at it, he just isn't a 4.8 guy. Like, it's not obvious at all. Like, you don't just watch him play and you're just like, oh yeah, that guy cannot run for the life of him. Like, you're like, oh, he can keep up. Like, I'll be honest, I think that he just may have had an off day or something like that. And I think that in reality, he's more so of like a 4.5 runner, which isn't like, oh, he's a speed demon, but like, that's good enough in the NFL, especially if you're a really good route runner. Like, again, overall, I think that this is by far the best UDFA signing, not for just us, but one of the best UDFA signings in the entire NFL. And that's why I give it an A+. Okay, that's the final one for real. Again, while I was recording this, there may have been another UDFA signing that I'm not aware of that happened. And if there is, let me know and I'll respond with what I think of that UDFA signing. But anywho, that's all for today's video. Again, I have Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok all under the Titans Rundown if you want to go check those out. And for people that just like to listen to podcasts over podcasting, I have the podcast, the Titans Rundown, all over whatever podcasting service that you use, most likely, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. I probably have it on there. But anyway, that's going to do it all for me. This has been a rundown of your Tennessee Titans. I love y'all, and tighten up.